We're going to begin our next panel, The Value of Work. I'd like to introduce a paratrooper in the U.S. Army, not a stranger to work in the Capitol, having served as an advisor and a chief of staff to the late Senator Dave Arnold. Please welcome for the Value of Work panel, our moderator, Greg Moreland.
Welcome to our panel. My name is Greg Moreland. Before we get started, I did want to say hello to my daughter who's at home. She is sick today. She's 5 years old. She's in preschool and she's home today from that. You'd be amazed at how early in school the kids start talking about politics. So she's at home watching the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference right now. On a more serious note, I would like to take a moment to remember the life and service of Lebanon County, Lebanon City Police Officer, Lieutenant William Lebo, who lost his life in the line of duty yesterday. So if we could all take a moment of silence, please, to honor the life of Lieutenant William Lebo, we would appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome to our panel. We're here today to talk about the value of work. Like I said, my name is Greg Moreland. I'm the Pennsylvania State Director for NFIB, or the National Federation of Independent Business. You know, I had a really good life growing up. I grew up with a father who was a Marine Corps veteran, a Vietnam veteran. He was also the director of a juvenile detention center right here in Dauphin County for over 20 years. He worked very hard. He worked multiple jobs to ensure that I had a life that he did not have. You see, he grew up in poverty. He grew up as the oldest child of a family with a single mother who was an LPN, and she had 4 children. He was the oldest, and he was responsible for raising his 3 younger siblings. And in doing so, he learned a lot. He taught me a lot as well growing up. He wanted better for his kids. He had sacrificed much of his time to work long hours to provide the life that he never had for me. And this is where I learned the value of hard work, because I got to watch my dad, my role model, go to work every single day, earn that paycheck, and when he came home every day, he laid his head down on the pillow knowing that he put in a long, hard day's work and he earned that money. After high school, I wanted to join the military. I graduated high school in 2002. 9/11 had happened, just slightly prior to my graduation. I wanted to join the military and serve my country. Well, my father worked at Penn State University at the time, and I got 75% off tuition. So my parents convinced me that I needed to go to college, and if I wanted to join the military after, I could. And that's what I did. But not everybody has that opportunity to get a reduction in the rate for college. Not everyone has that opportunity at home of someone pushing them to go to college. And is college right for everyone? In my job, my daily workings at NFIB as the state director, I represent 13,000 small independent businesses all throughout the Commonwealth and in every corner, every sector of the Commonwealth. So what you would see down Main Street are now hiring signs everywhere. Everyone is hiring. The 3 things that we have heard most over the last 2 years is that 48% of our owners reported that they couldn't find available workers to fill their open positions. 93% of owners that were trying to hire reported few or no qualified candidates. And 88% of our owners are working significantly more hours than they used to. Growing up and watching my dad, I learned a lot about the value of work and that pride that I mentioned earlier about putting your head down on your pillow at the end of the day and recognizing that you put in a solid day's work. So with that, where are the workers? Has there been a change in what we view as the value of work? Today, I'm joined by 2 experts that will share their experiences and what their organizations are doing and involving themselves in for the next future of our workforce. First, we have Courtney Fasnacht, who works for the Northeast Pennsylvania Manufacturers and Employers Council. And second, we have Michael Rounds from Williamson College of the Trades. I would like to introduce Courtney and allow her to introduce herself.
Thank you. My name is Courtney Fasnacht. I'm the Executive Director of the Northeast Pennsylvania Manufacturers and Employers Council. I've been with the organization for about nearly 20 years. And we are the nonprofit affiliate for the Manufacturers and Employers Association. And the association is a membership-based organization with about 345 member companies representing 42,000 employees. So probably 50 to 60% of that base is within the manufacturing industry. And because we have such boots on the ground programming and regular daily communication, the employers are really all saying the same thing. Retirements have led to a great shortage throughout the pandemic. COVID hesitancy did play a role in individuals not really wanting to come back to work. There was also concern about some of the mandates that we all felt. Childcare was also a little bit of an issue. There was obviously prolonged school closures. Unemployment compensation extensions obviously was a fight that the employer community really struggled with. Transportation, especially in some of the rural parts of Pennsylvania, are all really reasons why we're seeing an even greater shortage. But the pandemic has only exacerbated already existing issues in the labor market. It was tight previously, and now it is extremely tight. It was evident before the pandemic. There was a labor crisis, and recruitment was the #1 issue at that point in time. There was some recent data just released through the Pennsylvania Career Links, which we partner very closely with. In Pennsylvania, there are 2 job openings per unemployed person. So that's really staggering. Pennsylvania also has the highest student loans, the debt, in the entire country. And our age demographic is growing exponentially, especially in the 85 and older category. So, that being said, there really needs to be a target, a focus on the up-and-coming workforce, K through 12. We know that our youth, that's our future workforce, that is our pipeline. We are also losing our talent. We are not retaining our talent locally. We haven't been, again, well before the pandemic, so this has only been exacerbated. One of the reasons why our council was even developed was primarily to house workforce development programming. So our flagship program is our YES program, Your Employability Skills. It's a 120-hour, 1-credit elective course that is offered within a school district. Currently, we have 22 schools within the Commonwealth that are offering this course. So a teacher is designated within the district, usually a business education teacher, someone that can really have a good rapport with the students, and they are teaching this curriculum that was designed by business and industry as well as educators. So we are covering financial literacy, entrepreneurship. We're doing personality profiles, directing those students into careers that would best suit them. We're talking about total compensation, root cause analysis, not just in the manufacturing sector, but even in a nonprofit business. We're covering interviewing skills, resume writing. We really go over what financial literacy means as far as your credit score, balancing a checkbook. We are communication skills, professional impact, business etiquette, really all of the essential skills needed no matter what your future plans are. These skills will be needed for any type of job that you will ever have. One of the interesting things is our program meets and exceeds the Chapter 4 academic standards for career education and work, which is a priority for Pennsylvania school districts. And then aside from the curriculum, our council, to really make it easy for the schools, because we already know that the majority of teachers, and especially guidance counselors, are not really able to do a lot of guiding into career paths. They are focused on testing, and it has been that way for many years. So our council coordinates for each individual class 4 different tours. So students are going out into the manufacturing sector, logistics, agribusiness, entertainment, the service industry, conservation. So we will tailor tours for each individual class. We also have classroom speakers. So if a teacher's covering total compensation, we'll have an HR professional go in and really talk about what that means, what employers are looking for. We also do very realistic mock interviews. On average, we are mock interviewing between 600 and 700 high school students, primarily juniors and seniors, every single year within our program. So these are some of the things that make it unique. We also have about 500 employers that are offering preferential interviews to students who complete the course and have an opportunity to earn an industry-recognized credential. We also have scholarships for students that have earned the credential. To date, since 2011, we have had our students obtain over $230,000 in scholarships from Penn State University, the Pennsylvania College of Technology, Johnson College. We are going to be kicking off a scholarship in the near future with a school well known in the trades, and perhaps there might be future opportunity with another school district to partner college. So that industry recognized credential, what does this mean for a student? So they're meeting and exceeding the curriculum itself. They have to have a high school diploma. We're testing them on the TABE test, so they need to be at a 9th grade level in math, applied math, and reading. They're doing the Wonderlic cognitive ability test, showing that they have problem-solving aptitude. We require a 95% attendance requirement, and we also do a 6-panel drug test. The results come directly to us. If a student can meet all of those requirements, they will then receive the industry-recognized credential. At this point in time, we have about 10,000 students that have gone through our course, with over 3,000 that have earned the certification. And I realize there's a lot of other workforce development programs that are out there. Many of them you can participate in virtually. One of the things that makes YES work, and the reason why it has such support and has been embraced, is because it's all-encompassing. It's bringing together all stakeholders, the schools, the employers, as well as the community. It's a true business education partnership. Part of why we do the tours and why we're connecting students with employers and allowing for that networking is because we realize that the out-migration is an issue. We need for students to truly see what jobs are here, the family-sustaining wages that can be earned, what's available in our community. There's nothing wrong with rural communities. I mean, Pennsylvania is rural. We're taking them out and showing them what is here. One of the interesting things is very recently, a state in the South with a GOP governor who's making a lot of headlines recently just signed, I believe it was an executive order, to make sure that school districts require, as a graduation requirement, financial literacy. This is something that our council has been doing for the past 15 years. And it's something that can translate very well into all districts in Pennsylvania, not just the 22 that we're currently serving. So it's flexible. We're also doing workshops from the YES curriculum for students involved in GED programming within the Commonwealth. We are also providing these skills to individuals that are attending vocational centers at the high school level. And most recently, we piloted a program in the Schuylkill County Prison for 28 male inmates, also gaining some of these skills, those essential skills, that career awareness, that when they are released, many of them in the county system, specifically for drugs and the opioid epidemic, that they actually have skills to go out and get that job that they are being told they must obtain. So we're happy to share a little bit about our YES program, why we ever decided to implement the program, because these issues that were, again, there prior to the pandemic, they're here now, they're not going away, and at this point, instead of it just being a minor bleed, we truly are hemorrhaging our youth. So to retain our talent, we have to do something, and we have to do it now. I think Mike is going to share some information about some of the programs at Williamson College of the Trades.
Thanks, Courtney. My name is Mike Rounds. I'm the president of Williamson College of the Trades. Any This Old House fans out there watch the show ever? Did you see 2 weeks ago when they did a 5-minute story on Williamson College of the Trades? 130-year-old institution that's been producing young men of character that also learn a trade for a long time. My background, I grew up in the Midwest, in the Twin Cities, and I was a pretty good football player and a pretty good student, and so West Point was the only one that was giving me a chance to play Division I football. Not an inspiring story about why you go into the military, but that's where I found myself. And we beat Navy 3 out of 4 years, so we let them win once. It's all right. And so then I went into this career in the Army. I studied engineering, and I went in the Corps of Engineers. I was stationed over in Germany when the wall came down to see the East Germans coming across. I was a company commander at Fort Hood, Texas in the 1st Cavalry Division, and on 9/11, I was a young major at Fort Campbell, Kentucky in the 101st Airborne Division. And so we were one of the first groups to go in 2003. In and amongst all that, the Army gave me the opportunity to go back and get my master's degree and teach engineering at West Point, and I got to do that a couple times. Also spent a year commanding the Bagram district in Afghanistan with hundreds of millions of dollars of construction going on there. Came back and worked as the deputy commandant of the West Point Prep School when I got a call from a headhunter, and he said, hey, I've got this school out near Philadelphia. I've done the search for their last 2 presidents, both retired colonels from the Air Force, run like a military school, but faith is a core value, and they go to chapel every day. And every student that goes there goes for free. And I said, I've never heard of it. I went out, spent a day on campus, came back and told my wife, when we retire from the Army, that's the job I want, because there's something special about those young men that are there. So this is my 9th year there now. I went right from active duty to being the president at Williamson. Williamson College of the Trades, the only college in the country where every student, room, board, and tuition 100% covered. And we have 4 times the number of applicants we can take, so we take those with the most financial need first. Those young men graduate at a rate of 75%. And we had a career fair this past year where we have so many employers that want to hire them that they come in and they say, hey, we'll pay money to come and get the chance to interview these kids. So we're small. We're graduating about 65 kids this year. We had 206 companies from 15 states, and it grossed the school over $100,000. And all they're promised is you can compete with those other 200 companies to hire one of our Williamson men, right? So what do we find? There's huge opportunities in the trades. Why? Because for so long at the high school level, we've looked at these guys and said, oh, you're a VOTEC kid. You don't want to go to college. You don't want to write essays about history. What's wrong with you? And when they come to Williamson and they see, first of all, because of their economic situation, an opportunity to elevate their life, and the fact that people respect people who can work with their hands, build, fix, and maintain, and get the joy of doing that, and the opportunities are amazing. So our young men generally have 2 and 3 great job offers they're choosing from. Our power plant guys usually around $70,000 a year. So that's a college degree, no debt, and $70,000 a year job. Construction trades in the upper 50s. What's really special about Williamson and what the companies come from all over for is not necessarily the trade skills, but the character pieces. It's like a military school. They're up at 6 in the morning, they gotta make their bed. They gotta come to lineup, and if they're late, well, come in on Saturday, grab a rake, and you're gonna work for a little bit until you figure out that you gotta be on time, right? You gotta shave every day, coat and tie. Well, most of our kids have never owned a coat and tie, so we run a clothes closet where people donate that stuff for them. But they learn that faith, integrity, diligence, excellence, and service is a way to live your life. And in 3 years, all residential, everyone's there every night, they spend the time, they form this brotherhood. And we graduate 75% of the most at-risk demographic, young men around the poverty level. What's really amazing to me is why are we in this situation? We have to go back and reassess where we're at with our young people when they come through high school. You know, it is not a lesser than if you like to work with your hands. It doesn't mean you're not smart. It means that you have a different skill set. And these young guys embrace this role, right? So again, it's not bad for kids to go off to college, but when they feel like that's the only option, I think we're missing something. So I think why Williamson's so successful is because of the combination of the character pieces and then the hands-on skills that allow these guys to go out and take jobs. And we have graduates that have PhDs. We have graduates that have been presidents and CEOs. We have graduates that start their own company. And so for me, when I saw that leaving the military, wanting to fill that hole in my heart that I love soldiers so much and I love being around people who said, not the first question is what's in it for me, but what can I do to be part of the team and to serve? I found that at Williamson. I found an ability to continue to serve and see these young men. And I told Courtney and Scott, you know, when you see a guy walking across the stage that was living in a car and had no hope for a better life, and now he's walking across the stage with a college degree and a great job to go into, and you think to yourself, what would have happened to that young guy if he hadn't come here? What would have happened to him? What's the issue? We're unique in the country. There should be a Williamson in every big city in the country, right? Nobody knows about us, so now you know. So I know we're going to run out of time, and I could talk for hours about Williamson and how inspirational it is, but I want you guys to understand that, you know, what can we do about this? Like, those young people that have that knack and that ability to work with their hands, it is not a lesser than, and it is a bridge, right? So Williamson is an associate degree. It's a college degree. It gives you that added ability, right? Our kids, a lot of times, never thought they would go to college. They didn't do well in high school, not because they're not smart enough, but because they didn't see the reason to study this stuff. And when they come to Williamson, they see the curriculum fits what they're learning in the shops, why they need that stuff. Then they gain the confidence to say, yeah, you know, I can go get that next degree. I can see why it's important, and I can make a whole new life for myself that I never thought maybe was ever possible. So again, I'm happy to talk to anybody after we get to know that each other after this, but check it out. Go onto our website, check it out. Go onto This Old House and watch the 5-minute segment they did on us. But for Pennsylvania, and this is why it's important, Pennsylvania, last time I checked, was 48th in the country for affordability of college. That means if you're a poor person who doesn't have a family with the resources to send you to college, and you take every Pell Grant and every state grant, you're still $10,000 in the hole at least a year, right? So we have to understand that that's not the best path for some people, and be able to open people's minds to the ability to look at the trades as a way to elevate and to continue your education and training, and we need that. Am I proud of the fact that companies come from 15 different states? Sure. Would I like it if all of that great talent that we graduated at Williamson stayed here in Pennsylvania to help our economy? Yes, I would. And so that's what I would say for all of you out there is, hey, open our minds to what the possibilities are, the things that Courtney's doing with these young people to open their minds, and as parents and grandparents and others to be open to the idea that maybe going off to a 4-year liberal arts college right after at 18 is not the only path for talented young people that want to have a great life.
So, Michael and Courtney, what are the greatest barriers then to getting, young adults enrolled in your programs? Is it the mindset that, when I came through high school 20 years ago, there was that negative connotation to the vo-techs and working with your hands, and what? You're not going to college?
Right.
I think that mindset has changed a little bit today, but what are some of the barriers that you guys face in enrolling quality candidates into your programs?
Well, I think the misconceptions are still there. As parents, we always want better for our children, and I don't think it's really fully realized the technical skills and the pay scale that is really going to be available in some of these technical positions. I mean, specifically in manufacturing, at least in Schuylkill County, we have a starting salary for individuals with a GED diploma or a high school diploma, entry level, at about $25 to $27 an hour in both manufacturing and logistics. These are high-tech positions. Many of the companies that we work with have been forced to automate during the course of the pandemic because the people just were not there. How are we going to make sure that that automation is run if we don't produce enough candidates that are qualified with the essential skills, those employability skills, as well as the technical skills to fill those roles?
And for me at Williamson, well, the biggest thing is it costs a lot of money to run a college or nobody pays to go. So we have an endowment. We have about a $10 million budget. We got to raise a couple $1,000,000 every year to keep the lights on, but it's good work. Like, we get out, we tell our story, and people love what we're doing. And we do have, there's a school that modeled itself after Williamson that's opened, is graduating their first class out in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, called Harmel Academy. People are starting to recognize the need for places like this. And, we can't take everybody. We're building a new dorm. We're bringing in a new program this year, electrical. We're bringing in our largest freshman class. But schools like Thaddeus Stevens and Penn College, right, they all have great programs, too, for kids that maybe don't have as much need, that can afford to pay for their education. And I think for us, on our level at Williamson, we say, as long as we've got 400 kids that want to come and we have to turn away 200, and 100 companies that would hire somebody and there's not enough guys, we have to keep working hard to raise the money and resources to expand our program and bring in more guys. But on a bigger level, for me to tell the story of Williamson and hope that there's other places around the country and other communities that can look at what we're doing and recognize why it makes a lot of sense and the vehicle that it can be for young people to really have great careers that maybe they hadn't thought about before.
So, if you could say one thing to the legislature to pass one thing, there are a lot of elected officials here with us today and listening in, what would be one thing that you would suggest to the legislature to take a look at, to revisit, to take up, to provide more opportunity to those that otherwise may not be afforded this benefit?
We have a lot of dollars flowing through the Department of Community and Economic Development. And these dollars are specifically going to workforce development programs. And one of the things that is really lacking is really the flexibility in funding industry-driven workforce development programs and local partnerships. The demographics that we have in Schuylkill County are not going to be the demographics that there are in Delaware County or Bradford County. That is why local partnerships work. If you have the business buy-in and the stakeholders all involved, those are the programs that need to be funded, not new and innovative programs that are coming from other state-funded entities and to keep the dollars within state government. Fund the local partnerships that are working, that are showing a return on investment with our taxpayer dollars.
And for me, I talked to Dave White about this. He's a steam fitter from Delaware County, knows our school well. We were not that long ago, he was out and we were talking about this. For me, high schools can get this EITC credit, right, where people can donate a big amount of their state tax, but it doesn't apply to junior colleges and things like that. For us, I think it should. If you're in a technical type degree program, that should be part of it, because that can help. If those young people can bring that higher level of funding, then that helps everybody. That helps, it gives them choice in programs and raising that amount of money, to me, versus spending it all in programs, is one thing that can really help young people because it is so expensive, right?
Well, thank you very much. That concludes our panel on the value of work. We thank you for joining us.